Take your mind into the wonderful world of physical, emotional, psychological, and spiritual wellness. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Kinetic Hour. Conversations with you and guests. With your host, Kenan Wesley Mason. That's me. All right, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to another edition of the Kinetic Hour. I am your host, Kenan Wesley Mason. Welcome one, welcome all. Thank you for tuning in to the Kinetic Hour. As always, go to my YouTube channel and subscribe. Go to my YouTube channel and subscribe. The Kinetic Hour, Kennetic, the Kinetic Hour. And also my other YouTube channel, which is Kinetic Fit and Wellness Info. And again, that's Kinetic, Kennetic. As always, we are streaming live on Facebook, streaming live on Instagram, and streaming live on LinkedIn. So welcome to all three platforms. Welcome. And again, thank you for tuning in. Tell everyone that you know to tune in to the Kinetic Hour. Tell everyone that you know to leave comments, leave thumbs up, click the notifications. So that way you're notified with every Kinetic Hour episode, and leave comments regarding the comments. Tell everyone you know to listen and tune in to the Kinetic Hour. I'm always thankful for those that tune in. For this episode, just on the political front, I'm going to try to keep this as simplistic as possible. We know that Matt Gaetz is out and Pam Bondi is in. We also know of a couple of other picks. I'm just going to put these up on the screen here just so we're all kind of up to date. I'm going to put these up on the screen here. Let's see. The first one, because as you know, this guy right here, he's picked some more nominations. And I'm just going to highlight a few here because he's actually picked a few people throughout this whole week. The Donald, as you see right there, in all of his baby Huey glory. But he's picked a couple of people that I want to highlight here. The first is this individual right here, Dr. Mehmet Oz. Dr. Mehmet Oz, we all know him as simply Dr. Oz. And he's been chosen to be, the Donald, who is simply known as Dr. Oz, to lead the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. According to CNBC, the CMS is the agency under the Health and Human Services Department that oversee healthcare programs such as Medicare, Medicaid, the Children's Health Insurance Program, and Obamacare. And we know that many Trump supporters and Republicans want to get rid of Obamacare and instead have the Donald implement the Affordable Health Care Act. But as we should know, that the Affordable Health Care Act and Obamacare is the same thing. It's the same thing. So will he get rid of it and repeal it? Because he said he wanted to repeal it back in 2016. With what is he going to repeal it with? still remains a mystery, even right now, because remember, in the debate a couple of months back, he said he had an idea or concepts of a plan for healthcare, healthcare matters. So that's one person, Dr. Oz. Dr. Oz. Um, I've always had mixed reviews about Dr. Oz for varying reasons I won't go into now. But that's his pick. And his other pick, or his other nomination is right here. One of the CEOs, or former CEO, Linda McMahon, who I've watched for a very long time, being that I've been a WWE fan since I was 9 years of age. So, and I know Linda McMahon has been in the House of Representatives for quite some time now in Connecticut. And so her and Donald have maintained a professional relationship for quite some time. And it says that Linda McMahon has been nominated to lead the Department of Education. According to NBC News, Trump spoke about his decision and said, as Secretary of Education, Linda will fight tirelessly to expand choice to every state in America and empower parents to make the best education decisions for their families. During his campaign, Trump has been vocal about getting rid of the Department of Education while letting each state handle the education system. He's spoken about eliminating federal funding from any school, pushing critical race theory, transgender insanity, and other inappropriate racial, sexual, or political content onto the shoulders of our children. And this is his pick for the Department of Education, as he wants to get rid of it federally and leave the education system to each state. So we'll see how that pans out if she's in fact nominated and goes in as Secretary of the Department of Education. So will she push for schools to not teach critical race theory or just truths of history as it relates to people of color that were already here before colonialism existed? You know, before the British came over here because they wanted to get away from the monarchy of Europe. They wanted to get away from the monarchy of Europe. And, you know, this is something that'll be really, really interesting moving forward when it comes to the Department of Education and how and what children are being taught. You know, it's on the table for children to be forced to read certain passages from the Bible, no matter what their religious background is, because people here in America believe that this is a, quote, Christian nation. Some people say Judeo-Christian. But nonetheless, this nation that had absolutely no concept of religion once upon a time, because this land was always about spirit and spiritual ties to the energetic universe, not religion that was brought over here from the Romans. The Romans. and other European countries that made a decision to come over here to escape the monarchies of the kings of Europe and came over here to establish their own set of rules and laws, neglecting to acknowledge people that were already here and how they can participate in some of those freedoms and rules and regulations as well versus being omitted from them. So, will it be taught in schools about these events or occurrences of history? Or will it just be wiped off the table as if it never existed? So that remains to be seen. Transgender identity is another thing on the table, or is another um, is another situation or circumstance, if you will, that's on the table, because it is a hot topic because of the notion of transgender people, or people that were born boys and now want to be girls and go into the girls' locker room, which is a pretty big controversy, and for great reason. And for great reason. Um, I think if we have enough funds to, we have enough funds to finance political campaigns on both sides. I mean, Kamala Harris raised over $1 billion. How about we take some of that money and federally create um, facilities or designated areas, restrooms or locker rooms. They don't have to be anything significantly sizable, but a space for them that they can call their own. Just like for the boys or men's restroom, they can call that their own. The girls and women's restroom or ladies' restroom, they have that as their own. Well, why don't we create a restroom just like we have for unisex restrooms that have either a toilet and a urinal and it's big enough for one person, and all we need to do is put a sign that says transgender, and they have restrooms for themselves, just like there's restrooms for parents to go in to change their children, or there's restrooms for the disabled to go in for the disabled, and they can use the restroom with comfort. So why can't we do this same concept and apply it to transgender people? So that way, men that were born as men won't have their spaces invaded. Women that were born as women, they won't have their spaces invaded. And then everyone's happy versus this political bickering back and forth, because it makes for good political theater. That's what it does. And it creates emotions and it gets people's emotions riled up. So on both sides, take those federal funds. You know, we're sending rocket ships and all that up into space. Take those federal funds. We're studying all kind of stuff all over the world. Take those funds and create designated restrooms or locker rooms for transgender people. We can't say that we don't have the money for it in the budget. We have the budget for everything else. So why not create a budget and spend it on uh, transgender amenities? Why not? Then we can go past this and get to issues that are even more important than that, like what I'm going to go to next. So as I come out of here, Linda McMahon being nominated for the Department of Education. I want to go to this right here. I'm going to pull this up um, because, matter of fact, uh, Let me go here. So I'm going to pull this up here because this isn't getting the attention that it should from any news source, whether it's, quote, considered conservative or, quote, liberal. Doesn't even matter. This kind of stuff should be news worthy. This woman right here, she's a House representative from Georgia, and she's active right now. Her name is Marjorie Taylor Greene. Many of you have more than likely heard her name several times over the last 4 years. Actually, longer than that. So this specific headline says Marjorie Taylor Greene to head new government efficiency subcommittee. The panel will work closely with Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, advisory department of government efficiency. So they're going to make sure that government runs efficiently. Elon Musk, Vivek, and Marjorie Taylor Greene. So she's been nominated to be the head of that new department that's being created right now. But I want to go to something that she posted earlier this week. As I come out of here, I'm going to put up an article, or not, well, I guess it would be an article. I'm going to put this up on the screen here because I think this should be talked about more than anything else right now. Let's see here. Let's put this up. So this was put up by House Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene. And this is in the wake of another House representative from Florida, Matt Gaetz, who decided to step down. He decided to step down from being nominated for being the new Attorney General for the next 4 years. And so he's out, and he's not coming back to his seat as House representative. He made a choice to not come back. And we can speculate on some of the reasons why after I read this right here. Because people have been mentioning about political figures having lawsuits pending, present or past lawsuits pending due to sexual misconduct allegations. And again, on both sides, but specifically right now, because the Donald is going in as president, I'm just going to speak on the Republican side, especially because of what Representative Greene put up here. And I'm just going to read this because I think this is great. It's probably one of the best things that she could have done for politics and for people in general. It says, for my Republican colleagues in the House and Senate. Republican colleagues in the House and Senate. If we are going to release ethics reports and rip apart our own that Trump has appointed, then put it all out there for the American people to see. Yes, all the ethics reports and claims, including the one I filed, all your sexual harassment and assault claims that were secretly settled, paying off victims with taxpayer money. The entire Jeffrey Epstein files, tapes, recordings, witness interviews, but not just those, there's more. Epstein wasn't and isn't the only asset. If we're going to dance, Let's all dance in the sunlight. I'll make sure we do. And she posted this on November 19th. And at the time, it had over 1 million views. I'm pretty sure it has more than that now. But this should be headline news here, because let's take it from the top. And no one in mainstream media is covering this, or not to my knowledge, at least. Not CNN, not MSNBC, not even Fox News, not even Newsmax, right? Not ABC, CBS, NBC. None of them are reporting this. For my Republican colleagues in the House and Senate, not Democrats in the House and Senate, specifically her Republican colleagues. If we're going to release ethics reports and rip apart our own that Trump has appointed, then put it all out there for the American people to see. Yes, all the ethics reports and claims, including the one I filed, which means, or could it mean, that, because we have to assume the word alleged. I mean, that's the key word that we have to keep using, allegedly. So is she claiming that she filed a complaint of sexual misconduct against her because one of her colleagues approached her in a inappropriate way? Is this what she's saying? Because it says right here that she filed a complaint as well. All your sexual harassment and assault claims that were secretly settled, paying off victims with taxpayer money. Why aren't the people outraged over that? We keep talking about how our taxpayer money is being spent or not being spent. Well, it looks like right here, our taxpayer money is going to victims, right? Didn't the Donald just come out of a hush money trial? That's where the sentencing has been shelved indefinitely. So why is our tax dollars going to victims of sexual misconduct by our elected officials? Where's the outrage? Where's the class action lawsuits? Can a class action lawsuit be filed by the people against our American politicians? I mean, this is a grievance that can be put on the table. Or is it? I mean, this is what our tax dollars is going to pay off victims. That means there's a lot of people in the Republican House and Senate that have had complaints of sexual misconduct. That's what this whole passage right here is stating, that there are Republican colleagues, her Republican colleagues. Matter of fact, one of the other, I think he was a senator, or, oh gosh, I can't think of his name. I think he's from Oklahoma. He's spoken out saying that Matt Gaetz used to go on the House floor and show his colleagues videos of the underage girls that he was with and paid for, because it's on record that he paid for this. And he would go on the House floor and show his colleagues. And then we wonder why he doesn't want to come back. He's choosing not to come back to his seat in the House. Why did the Department of Justice neglect to move forward with any proceedings of evidence with the victims? Why isn't anybody talking about the victims? The victims. Why? Because, again, in politics, it's not about the victims. It's about power and control of the politician. Power and control. And obviously, this is the proof. All your sexual harassment and assault claims that were secretly settled, paying off victims with taxpayer money, hush money. So that means that what that says is that we're okay with our elected officials violating others. That's what it says about us as citizens that are having our tax dollars pay off victims to keep quiet about our elected officials and their misconduct activities over and over and over and over and over again, cycle after cycle, decade after decade, generation after generation. Where's the outrage? Where's all the MAGA supporters? Where's all the Trump supporters? Where's all the Democrats that voted for Kamala Harris? Where are they? Why aren't they talking about this? Why aren't the MAGA supporters talking about this? Why aren't any of the Trump supporters talking about this? Because this is their tax dollars too, going to victims. But no one cares about the victims. But we want to talk about trafficking from people south of the border. There's people right here in America that are doing a whole lot of trafficking. Just like in the entertainment industry. We talk about trafficking in the entertainment industry. The same thing happens in politics and has been happening in politics for generations, whether we want to acknowledge it or not. And according to this right here, the entire Jeffrey Epstein files, tapes, recordings, witness interviews, but not just those, there's more. And this is an active representative in the House right now that's telling all of us that are tax-paying citizens, whether you're a Republican or Democrat is irrelevant, we're all tax-paying citizens. Both Epstein files, tapes, recordings, witness interviews, but not just those, there's more. Epstein wasn't and isn't the only asset. So if we're going to dance, let's all dance in the sunlight. Now, this is probably the greatest thing that she has done in her political career, is to bring this to the table. If you want to dance, bring it to the light. Let's dance under the sun. Matt Gaetz, let's dance under the sun. Pete Hegseth, let's dance under the sun. Right? What's the other guy's name? The House Speaker, Mike Johnson. We all know about him and his son monitoring each other's porn watching activity. Let's dance under the sun, right? And anyone else, even the Donald, let's dance under the sun, right? So this right here, people should be outraged with this right here. And if we accept this as citizens, that means we're okay with our elected officials victimizing more women and possibly men as well, over and over and over and over again. Remember, George Santos, he was a cross-dresser, Republican at that. Remember him? George Santos. He took himself out of his representative seat as well. George Santos, Republican representative, cross-dresser, right? But we want to talk about trafficking from people south of the border. Because we're supposed to be so scared of brown people from Venezuela and Nicaragua, right? That's what the Fox people tell us, to be afraid of people from Venezuela and Nicaragua, because an incident happened in Texas. And matter of fact, speaking of that, I want to bring up something else. Let's come out of there real quick and let's bring this up. Politics. Let's bring this up right here. This right here, this headline, it says, Gaetz among 20 House Republicans who voted against anti-human trafficking bill, anti-human trafficking bill. This is from an article of July of 2022. And as we scroll down here, so we have people in the Republican House, just like Representative Green just referred to. And as a matter of fact, let me bring this up even more. Says right here, Gates was joined by GOP reps, and these are the representatives at the time in 2022 that was against the House bill for anti-trafficking, anti-human trafficking laws. So let's see who is against it. Brian Babin from Texas, Andy Biggs from Arizona, Lauren Boebert from Colorado. We remember her. Remember, she was the one in the theater watching Beetlejuice with her date while she was feeling her date up, damn near jerking him off. Lauren Boebert, House Representative from Colorado. Mo Brooks from Alabama. Ken Buck, also from Colorado. Andrew Clyde from Georgia. Louis Gohmert, also from Texas. Paul Gosar, also from Arizona. Marjorie Taylor Greene, Georgia. Andy Harris, Maryland. Jody Heiss from Georgia. That's 3 from Georgia. Thomas Massey from Kentucky. 1 Republican from California, Tom McClintock. Mary Miller from Illinois. Troy Niels, another from Texas. Ralph Norman from South Carolina. Scott Perry from Pennsylvania. Chip Roy from Texas, again from Texas. And last, Van Taylor, also from Texas. The bill calls for allocating more than $1.1 billion over 5 years to reapprove the bolster programs that were created under the Trafficking Victims Protection Act of 2000. And those are all the names that voted against it. That voted against it. And as we just saw, most of them are from the Lone Star State, Texas, which is one of the border states where we hear of most of these incidents occurring, people that are coming into the United States through the Texas border. Again, where's the outrage? Where's the outrage? Where's Governor Abbott on this situation, right? Where's Ted Cruz? You know, Ted Cruz, Senator Ted Cruz, he just won his seat back in the Senate. You know, the one that left Texas to go vacationing while Texas was freezing over a couple of years back. You know, the same Ted Cruz that talked a bunch of stuff about the Donald a few years back, just like a bunch of other Republican colleagues that talked highly negative about Donald Trump and who he truly is behind closed doors. Then when it came to positions of power, they cleaned up their act. And now Donald Trump is the greatest person on the planet. And Ted Cruz allowed Donald Trump on more than 2 occasions to talk negative about his wife. Ted Cruz, you know, the one that a few days back was at the rocket launching with the Donald and Elon Musk. That Ted Cruz, the same Ted Cruz where his daughter was telling his mom, don't clap for the Donald. while he's having his acceptance speech, saying that he prays that Donald gets elected, and his wife was clapping and applauding, and his oldest daughter was telling her, "Don't clap for that." It's the same man that uh, was disrespecting and ridiculing you as our mother. Don't clap for that. That Ted Cruz. Because we know power corrupts people. Power, especially political power. Political power corrupts people to varying levels and varying degrees. So again, where's the outrage? Where's the outrage? We can't talk about trying to save the children when we have people right here in the United States, our own elected officials, doing the trafficking. But they want you and I to be fearful of people that live 1,000 miles south of the border coming over here. Where was the outrage with the immigrant that came over here and attacked Nancy Pelosi's husband? Where was the outrage for that? He was an immigrant. He was an immigrant. I didn't see any outrage for that. Nope. And he was a Caucasian guy. He was still an immigrant. I didn't see any outrage. So we can't have it both ways. We can't have it both ways. Either you want to save the children from these tyrants or you don't. And me being the father of a 10-year-old daughter, yeah, I'm about the children. I can care less about the political figures because political figures change every 2 to 4 years. They change every 2 to 4 years. And many times the laws change every 2 to 4 years. The laws change. But if we're really wanting to take care of the children and protect the children, then why are all these House representatives voting against it? Why are they voting against it? Could it be because they are truly guilty of all the allegations? Could be. Time will tell. Um, all it is still, I mean, there's have been victims that have gone in front of grand juries, and they do have statements that are on record. Now, will it come to the light? That remains to be seen. But obviously, according to that passage that I just read from Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene from Georgia, saying that even she filed a complaint and our tax dollars are going to victims of misconduct by our elected officials. That means they're getting off the hook time after time after time after time. And no one's outraged about it. So what do you think about it? What do you think? I mean, are you outraged as a taxpayer? Are you tired of your tax dollars being allocated to stuff like this? Whether you're Republican or Democrat, when it comes to issues like this, being Republican or Democrat, it becomes a non-issue. It's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. So let's make some noise with this. You know, I mean, if you want to really spark some, if you really want to make change or spark change, these kind of reports need to be at the forefront. Whether you're Republican or Democrat is irrelevant. It's irrelevant. And people can have their gripes with Marjorie Taylor Greene. You know, she's outspoken. You know, people, she argues with people on the House floor all the time. We know this. But when it comes to stuff like this, issues like this, where she's calling out her own colleagues for misconduct, and she says that she filed a complaint too, and our tax money, our tax dollars are funding victims of misconduct by our elected officials, there should be outrage for that. So, can anyone bring this as a lawsuit of grievances towards our elected officials? Or are we going to just sit back and watch more people, men or women, boys or girls, be victimized by our political figures? Political figures, whether it's Matt Gaetz, the Donald, Peter Hegseth, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. On either side, whether it's happened on either side. I mean, people still don't want to talk about those old clips of Joe Biden hugging on that one girl on the House floor several years back with her parents right there. People don't want to talk. Matter of fact, I'm going to have to pull that clip up.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Well, nice to see you guys. Thank you. See you back home, I hope. I'm going to switch here. You two come here.
There we go.
You got it? Okay.
Okay, and the people in the back, you can spread out a little bit, like that gentleman, spread out
You can
there.
hold the Bible. Hang it down.
One big group shot, come on in.
Do you know what my dad used to say? Your granddaughters have one important job. Take care of their pop. That's the most important one.
Okay, and the gentleman with the baby, could you guys come over to the front? Okay, yeah, can I get a couple of you, just...
Caroline.
Hi, Caroline. How are you? How old are you?
18.
18.
Yes.
Now, you all sisters?
I was there. This is sister-in-law. And sister-in-law.
Sister, and what's your name? Hi, Mommy. How old are you? How old are you?
I'm 23.
This is my wife. Hey, how are you? I'm David. Hey, David. How are you?
I think you know how much it means to me to have you swear me in today, and I thank you. And for me, this is the highest honor to be the 25th Secretary of Defense. I'm grateful to the President and the Vice President for your trust and confidence, and to the U.S. Senate as well for their trust and confidence. I've got a lot of thanks to give out.
Because it occurs on both sides. You know, a lot of MAGA supporters truly believe that Democrats are responsible for all that's happening in politics, or all that's ever happened in politics. It's all their fault. Vice versa, there's Democrats that believe everything that's happening in America is all the Republicans' fault. Everything falls on their shoulders. Well, Republicans and Democrats have been in charge of America for quite some time. I mean, since what, the Civil War? The Civil War. And there may be another Civil War, possibly. I hope there's not. But me being neutral with politics, I just say I'm going to be sitting back, drinking my wine and eating popcorn, watching everything kind of unravel. Go to my YouTube channel. Go to my YouTube channel. I'm going to leave it right there. Go to my YouTube channel and subscribe. Tell everyone that you know to subscribe. Leave your comments on this situation. Leave your comments. What do you think? How should people proceed? Should the citizens get together and file a class action lawsuit for their grievances against our own public officials for using our tax dollars as hush money to victims of misconduct by our elected officials? And then our president-elect has a sentencing on hush money, and now it's put on the shelf indefinitely because he's going in as president. And this is our justice system at work. And this is what we're paying for with our tax dollars. This is what we're paying for in America, right? The land of the free. So go to my YouTube channels, subscribe, click thumbs up, leave your comments. Tell everyone that you know to leave comments regarding the comments. And tell everyone you know to tune into the Kinetic Hour. I thank all of you for tuning in. It's much appreciated. I appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in. Until next time.